welcome to the channel. For those new here, my name is Reni. I'm a pagan from the beautiful country of the Netherlands. But we're not in the Netherlands today now, are we? I'm in Denmark at the moment. I'm on holiday with my family. We're having a great time and we're spending lots of time very close to the sea, which is different to where I normally live. I live in a village that's basically hugging the German border. And what you see in the background here, in the back, is a fjord, which is also connected to the ocean. And when I spend a lot of time just staring into the abyss that is the ocean, you start thinking about all the tales and all the mythology that's involved with that. So you might think, oh, you're thinking about Njord. Yes, if you're Dutch, you're thinking about Nehalenia, the goddess of the North Sea. But there's more to it than that, just that. There are also some deities, or some giants I should say, who live down in the depths of the sea. We are talking about the tale of Aegir Ran. Now Aegir means the sea and Ran means something like the robber, the devourer. So this goes more to the dark aspects of the sea. These two Jotun, these two giants, are the reason that sailors in olden times always had a coin of gold on them, or at least they had like a trinket, something of gold. Because Aegir has a massive hull in the depths of the ocean, which is kind of like the seafaring version of Valhalla. Where people feast till eternity. But to get into Valhalla, well, Odin has to pick you and you have to die in battle bravely. Aegir's hull is for the people who drowned at sea. But you're only allowed in there if you have a gold coin or a gold trinket around your neck. That is payment for Aegir. Now we're talking today, of course, about the symbolism of the story of Aegir Ran and what we can learn from that, and specifically how this tale that we find in the Nordic myths is a great metaphor for taking it one step at a time, taking it slow. That's something I've always been taught. Not something that I've always done, but it's something that I've always been taught. What is that story, you may ask? For those who don't know, I'll give you a very small recap. There's a story that all the old gods are invited to a feast in Aegir's hall. All of them show up, except Thor, which is significant later on in the story. They don't come alone. There are also some elves and there are some helpers. There's a whole delegation and they all make the long journey to the hall of Aegir Ran. And they feast and they're merry. In fact, they were so merry and they were so happy that Loki got a bit pissed off. He couldn't take it anymore. So what he did is he murdered one of the servants. Not only that, he murdered one of the servants and then he left. Pissed everybody off. To make things worse, about a couple hours later, he came back. And what did he do? He demanded a drink. Nobody wanted to give him a drink, because he just murdered somebody. And he said, Odin, didn't you swear a blood oath that we always share a cup? So Odin was like, okay, no, you got me there with the oath. So he had his son, Vidar, bring him a cup and he's drinking again. But it gets worse. Loki starts insulting everybody, like in a big way. Like he calls the god Bragi a coward. He calls the god Frigg a whore. He calls the goddess Freya a whore. Well, not only that, he doesn't only call Freya a whore, but he calls her a whore who's also slept with her brother, Frey. Not only that, he calls Freya a whore who slept with her brother, but while she's getting fucked by her brother, she was farting the whole time. Now, I don't care what century you were born in, but that's a pretty good insult. So they trade blows back and forth. Well, not physical blows, but blows. It's like a roast battle. The gods are just... everybody's getting involved. Until finally, the door swings open and guess who's back from Jotunheim? The mighty thunder god. Thor says what he usually says to Loki. He grabs him by the throat and he says, you better shut it or I'll pound you with my hammer. And Loki says, you know, everybody tasted the sharp end of my tongue tonight. And I wasn't gonna stop, but I'll stop because of your strength, because that's the one thing I know. I know you can hurt me, Thor. So he leaves again. So that's the story. Well, what does it mean? Well, what do Aegir and Ran mean? Yeah, you could say they're like this deep soul of the ocean, and possibly even the light and the dark of the ocean. Aegir is just the light, and Ran is the devourer that devours ships. But what does the ocean mean symbolically? I don't know, but when I don't know, I look to dream symbolism. And when you dream of something in your dreams, when you dream of the ocean, that ocean is often a metaphor for your feelings. If you have a dream where your ocean is just like flat, it means you don't have any big feelings, everything's just quiet. I mean, you have a dream that there's an ocean in your dream and it constantly moves up and down. That means your feelings are going all over the place. Okay, that's the sea, but Aegir's Hall is not on top of the sea, it's inside of the sea. So you have your feelings and it's deep inside of your feelings. That's basically there. So I'm thinking that Aegir Ran is a metaphor for very deep and subconscious thoughts. Why I'm also thinking that the second piece of evidence that could point to this being a correct explanation is that on first instance Thor is not going to the hall. Now, I'm not calling the god of thunder and the protector of Midgard and the son of Odin shallow. But if you had to pick one god who is so powerful and so direct and so devoid of all bullshit that he has trouble reaching those deep thoughts, if you had to pick one, it's probably Thor. So maybe that's why. You know, just the texts say he's in Jotunheim. He doesn't say what he's doing, but we all know what he's doing. He's pounding some giant, probably. So this could be a metaphor for very, very deep thoughts. And why things completely go awry in Aegir's Hall is because you can't stay in Aegir's Hall too long. You can't stay in your subconscious and you can't have those deep thoughts too long. And let me explain why. It's okay to go really, really deep in your thoughts, because I don't know if you've noticed, I like to do that as well. But when you have these deep thoughts, you need to come to the surface again and you need to integrate them into your daily life. Now, that's difficult when you go really far and really deep and you stay along, because you get so many ideas and it's hard to bring them. Let me give you an example of that, because we all know a person like this. And these persons have puzzled me in my teens and early 20s for a long time. You have people who do a lot of hallucinogens, a lot of mushrooms, a lot of LSD, ayahuasca, all that stuff. Now, those things can give you a really good insight. Those things can really give you a deep insight. They can really bring you to the depths of your subconscious and they can give you something beautiful. But there are people who do them a lot. And in my opinion, possibly a bit too much. They're the people who make that their whole personality. You come across these people and they tell you amazing things, because taking hallucinogens is a big part of their personality, so they talk about it a lot. So you meet them at parties everywhere and they go like, you know, I did ayahuasca and I learned that everything is love. I learned that everything is possible, that everything in the universe isn't solid. This table is not solid. Everything is energy and we can manipulate this energy. For the record, I think for a large part they're onto something, they're true. But the thing is, after a while I started asking these persons, like, I started noticing something like these people, they always talk about everything is love and everything is possible. But I noticed that their lives weren't really a good reflection of that. So one time I was at a party and there was this guy, stereotypical guy, talked about hallucinogens a lot. So he told me again his story about how great it was. And when he was done, I asked him, I said, yo, how's your love life? He goes, well, I don't have a girlfriend right now. I'm sure that will make... he says, why you ask? I said, no, I just want to know. I said, how's your job? Well, I just got a shitty job, don't like my boss, but so how's your finances? Well, I'm a bit in debt, but there's no debt. So I said, listen, I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I'm just noticing some things. If you have a scale of where your life is, right? Over here you have like a really excellent life. It's almost heaven. And over here your life is just in the gutter. Your health, your finances, your love life, your spiritual life, like a lot of these things are just, if you give them a grade, it's not a good grade. Okay? Say you're here. I believe when you take LSD and when you take mushrooms and when you take ayahuasca, I think you go to Aegir's hall. Not literally, but metaphorically. You go to a very deep place where you have deep thoughts. And I believe it was Bhagwan, this guru from India, who also goes by the name of Osho. He once has a famous quote where he said, like LSD, ecstasy and ayahuasca, those are the back door to heaven. He has a great speech where he says, we must let go of the back door to heaven. So, there's the line, here's your life is not very good, your life's pretty shit. Then you take LSD and you take the back door into heaven. And you stay there a long time and you explore it. And you go, oh, this is so great, everything is love and everything. And then you come back here. Your problem is there's too much space between these two places. You need to bring this here and integrate it. But because the space is too big, you can't do that. So you're stuck with a shitty life, and this is actually becoming like a brick around your neck, because it's not helping you. It's not helping you because you put this energy in how you know life could be. But if you could just let this go and focus on what you have, you could actually move the fuck forward. So, I think that's the story of Aegir Ran. You can go very deep places, and I recommend you do. Just come back and take your time. Unpack what has been given to you. Unpack the feast. Unpack the lessons. And then you can slowly move your life into a better place. And you can come to a sort of heaven on earth, if I may use a Christian terminology on this channel. Don't crucify me, Christians. Fuck it, you'll probably just forgive me. You can make it so your life is better. And you're almost close to heaven. And you can just knock on and walk in the front door and make your life really, really good. So, my wishes for you is that you do that you make your life really, really good. That you take small steps, that you take time to integrate them, and that you try to minimize the back door to heaven. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in 1 week, where I'll probably still be in Denmark. Oké? Ga met de goden. Weef met het web. Rach met de rune. Dat is niet een goeie. Ren met de rune. Tot volgende week.